session. Teach me along the way. So if there are things that maybe I might use some acronyms from a little while ago that is not familiar, because I do understand some of the product names have changed here and there. So bear with me, teach me along the way. Do respect technology. A lot of people are logged in from different locations, and you might have technical issues when someone's answering, if they get cut or something like that, myself included. Um, well, just a heads up, it is almost 1 a.m. in the morning here for me. I'm hoping that I have a strong internet connection for the rest of the session. I don't think that that would be a problem, but you never know. It's 2020, anything can happen. Ask questions, stop me at any time, and just enjoy the session. It's something that is very dear to me. This topic of empowering others, and the fact that I'm speaking to LCPLX, because I've gone through that journey, and I want to be able to share every little bit of experience that I have to share with you. So let's move ahead. So that's me. My name is Celeste, Celeste Rodriguez. I was the former MCVP Youth and PR for Isaac in Nepal in the year 1718. So shout out to any of my Nepal LCPLX that are in this session. Much love to y'all. Um, I Let me see. Currently, I am out of Isaac, and it's been about 2 years. But again, like they say, once you're an Isaac, you're always an Isaacer. Um, and I was given this opportunity to come and speak to LCPLX because I have gone through that journey. And I'm going to quickly touch a little bit about my Isaac experience and how I got to this position, um, and my final experience within Isaac. So I joined Isaac actually back in 2013. Maybe some of you joined at that time, or was still babies, or just starting university. But I joined back in 2013 in my second year of university. And I can relate to a lot of you because I'm currently based in Toronto, Canada. It is home now, it's where I live. But I was born and raised in Karachi, Pakistan. So shout out to anybody from Pakistan that's attending this session. That is my birthplace, and I moved to Canada in the year 2012 to further my studies. I came to Isaac, I came to Canada to study. And like every South Asian, you know, young student, I was strictly instructed that I am here only to focus on education. I have to get the grades, I have to get the degree, because that's going to get me the best job. And I was determined that I am not going to be indulging in any extracurriculars, and I'm going to just focus on getting those grades so that my parents are happy. But something happened in the year 2013, and life changed from there, to say the least. Um, I met with a couple of my friends from Pakistan on a vacation that I was in that year. And one of my friends came up to me and she's like, Celeste, there's this amazing organization. It's called Isaac, and it's all about leadership, and you get to talk, and you love taking the stage, and you love talking to people. You're so chatty, which a lot of you will notice during the session that I do like to talk a lot. And she said that I think you should seriously consider it. She told me, just look it up. It's probably on your campus. It's there across the world. And mind you, she was currently not an Isaac member, but she was considering going on exchange at the time through Isaac in Pakistan. Um, so I came back to campus in my second year, and I looked it up and I said, okay, what is all the fuss about? Let's look at this. I signed up, I was invited to an information session, and I was confused as, I guess, to use foreign language, confused as fuck. Okay. Um, all these people dancing in a room, all these weird acronyms. And then they're trying to convince me to go on an exchange. And I'm looking at my friend who I pulled along with me, and I said, I'm already an international student here in Canada, and these guys want me to go to another country to experience something different. Isn't coming here an experience in itself? So I was a bit taken aback, and I said, okay, where's the leadership? Where's the public speaking? Where is, the things that I came here for? And I said, okay, I'll go ahead. I'll come to the information seminar, I'll attend. And surprisingly, I got selected to become a member because I was not interested in the exchange program. And fast forward to 14, I was a full-on member, um, just taking on a couple of roles here and there. But to be very honest, for the first 6 months, I had no idea what I was doing in the organization. I was asked to stand in the middle of the university center behind a booth, convincing people to go on exchange. I was asked to talk to them about leadership. I was asked to talk to them about exchange, and just in general, the things they care about in the world, just so that we knew we were attracting the right kind of people for the organization. So I was very confused, and my LCP at the time came up to me and she said, Celeste, you seem like you're not understanding what's going on in ISEC. And I said, yes, well, I don't, because I was told that I'm, going to take center stage and like give a speech and like empower all these people and, all these expectations that I had. And my LCP at the time told me, Celeste, I think you need to go to a conference. And I was like, a conference? Like, what is this, a cult? Um, and she told me there are a couple of conferences that are coming up, and they're not national conferences, they're not regional conferences, but it's an international conference. And I said, okay, excuse me, but I'm only 6 months into the organization, and here again, you're trying to send me abroad. Like, what is with this organization and getting me to go abroad? So I thought about it a bit and I said, okay, well, let's go. And since Isaac in Canada falls in the Americas region, at the time it was called um, Europe and North America was together. There was no such thing as the Americas and MEA and AP. It was very different at the time. So I had the opportunity to attend the conference that was happening in Latin America, which was in Brazil. But sadly, I had exam schedule at the time, and so I couldn't attend that particular conference. And so I was asked to go to a conference in Europe, and I attended my first ever international conference, and things changed dramatically. I was standing there in a room full of people just like me who always wanted to grab the mic and share stories. They wanted to, talk about these life inspiring moments. They wanted to, um, change the world. And all of them, pretty much everyone in that room was determined that they were going to end up at the United Nations with a job. And I said, okay, now I get it. This is what I need to do. I need to grab the mic. I need to say what I want to say because no one's going to judge me. And I'm going to take it from there. So I came back from this conference so motivated that I decided, okay, I'm running to be the president of this local chapter of mine. And I was only a member. So I said, okay, I talked to my LCP and I said, I want to put my name for LCP. I want to be the president. And she's like, hold on, you're just new. You cannot, run for LCP. And I said, why not? I thought anyone can run. So she says, well, you're only 6 months and you need a little bit of experience. And I said, okay, fine. So then she said, okay, you can apply for the executive board. And I said, sure, why not? Um, I applied to the executive board, and unfortunately, that was where I experienced my first failure. Apparently, I was not ready to take on a role of vice president, and so I was turned down. But that did not discourage me. In fact, further motivated me to take on more leadership roles within the organization. I took on the role of a TL and got on the OC for a national conference that my LC hosted in the same year. And then again, 1 year gone by, and it was time to run for LCP again. This time I was able to run. I put my name down as a candidate, and so did four other very competitive people. Unfortunately, again, I experienced my second failure. I failed to win the LCP election. And this was the year 2015, and there was only a year left for me to graduate. And I said, okay, this is it. This was my biggest heartbreak. It's never going to happen. I'm never going to get LCP. I'm never going to get my way around. But then I said, you know what? This organization by that time had given me so much that I said, I think I can spare one more year to see, can I challenge myself to run again? And so I did in 2016, and I won. The picture that you see on the screen right now is my executive board. It pretty much sums up what my year ended up being. I had my executive board drive me crazy, my local chapter drive me crazy. But the most important experience that I had in that entire year was the fact that I was able to empower the people who came after me and even some of the people that were there before me. These six individuals on my executive board pretty much, um, you know, drew the path for what was going to be a very successful year as a membership from my local chapter, which was one of the local chapters in Isaac in Canada that wasn't very good in exchanges and also had a membership retention problem. So I took it upon myself and I said, okay, my year is really going to be about the membership experiences, the leaders that I want to create, the people that I want to empower to really understand the organization so that they can take it forward. Um, One of the things that you guys will have the opportunity to do is to pick your team. Some of you have already picked your team. I've been told some of you have yet to choose your executive board. And maybe along the way, some of you might lose an executive board member and might have to pick another one halfway through, like I had to do. But mind you, these 6 people stayed with me throughout. I just had to add one more VP. He's unfortunately not there in this picture. Um, and so I want to remind you guys that the people you'll pick for your executive boards, or the people that you guys have picked for your executive board, are the people that are going to be your go to people. They're going to be the ones who are there for you throughout your LCP journey. They're going to be there for you after your LCP journey. And they're always going to be that special friend that helped you become the leader that you want to see yourself at the end of your term. Now, not only did I have an executive board, but I also had 29 other local committee presidents with me in Isaac in Canada. And this is something, again, that is very important for all of you all to keep in mind. If you belong to a small entity that, let's say, only has 2 LCs or 3 LCs, or maybe even 1 LC, or maybe you have an entity that has more than 10 LCs, know that your LCP network is your fortress. They're going to be there with you through thick and through thin. I know at the end of the day, it comes down to numbers and competition, and we have to do this, and I want to win the award at National Congress and things like that. But these are the guys who are going to stick with you throughout because they're going through the same journey as you. And this includes everyone in this call right now. All of you in this call are one big family. You're going to be there for each other because you're all part of one Asia Pacific region. I was very grateful that I had these 29 local committee presidents from all across Isaac in Canada who were just a message and a call away. Even though we have different time zones, I was able to call somebody up who was 3 hours behind me or 2 hours ahead of me and say, okay, this is going down, shit's going down in my LC. I need help. What do I do? Or this MCP is giving me trouble, or this MCVP requires too much of me. What do I do? Know that your connections within your Isaac network, your LCP network, is one that you will have to hold dear to you throughout. So my year's LCP, again, like I said, was a very fruitful one. And it led me to the decision of continuing to stay in Isaac. And I said, okay, I'm going to apply for MC for sure. I had only two entities in my mind that I wanted to apply to. I wanted to challenge myself and apply to Isaac in India because I have my roots there. And I was, again, very I guess, inspired by how a country like India is really, taking leadership to the next level. And I knew there were going to be issues with me applying into because I was a Pakistani citizen, and some of you might know, there are always political tensions that happen between the two countries. But I wanted to challenge myself. I went through an amazing process of getting, uh, you know, considered for a role, but unfortunately, I did not get selected. I then applied to Isaac in Canada itself. It was not one of my first options, but I said, since it is home and it's going to be home for the next few years, why not give it a try? I decided and then I said, okay, I'll apply. But unfortunately, again, I did not get it. And that's when I said, okay, I think I'm done with my Isaac experience and I have to settle down and get a real job. But then something told me that no, there's something out there for you that I need to push myself for. And I decided, why not apply to another entity? I was actually inspired by my roommate who was a Nepali who told me that we should go together and do some charity work after the Nepal earthquake in 2015. And so I decided, okay, let's do that. And then it came to my mind, Nepal has an Isaac chapter. Why not try there? And so I applied, and I was fortunate enough to have been selected to be a part of MC Everest for the year 1718. That pretty much summed up my Isaac journey in terms of the roles that I took. But like I said, Isaac is a continuing journey. You in the organization even after you leave. There are always people reaching out to you. So that was a little bit about myself. And like I said, I do like to talk a lot. So I hope that I can, calm myself down a little bit because I get very carried away and emotional when it comes to talking about my Isaac experience. But I'm here for you. I'm here for you to tell you what to expect and how your LCP journey is going to look like. So, moving ahead. So, before we actually get into the real the crux of the session. I have a little icebreaker, and for this, I want you guys to break out into your breakout rooms. May is going to help me with this. So I want two of you to pair up together. If we have an odd number of participants, you can always feel free to add. But I want you to randomly pair up with another individual, and we're going to do a small icebreaker. And the purpose really behind this is that um, I want you all to share a rose and a thorn with the individual that you're going to be speaking with. When I say a rose and a thorn, I basically mean I want you to share with this person something positive that happened to you today or yesterday, um, and something negative, something that you're not very happy about. It could be a personal thing, it could be within Isaac, it could be anything. So if you could break out into your rooms, I'm going to give you guys, 5 minutes to just break out into your rooms, do this, and we shall be back. Um, so if May can just help me in how this is going to work.
I have opened the breakout room, but if there is no one in your breakout room, let me know and ask for help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, can you send me in the breakout room again? There was no one with me.
May I know your name?
Twishi Trivedi.
Okay. So which room are you in?
I was in 14, but I was alone over there, so I came back here.
Okay. Okay, I sent you 17.
Thank you so much.
So May, just a question. Can they hear me in the breakout rooms?
No.
Okay, they can their day to day or experience something crazy or are going through a tough time because they had a thorn that was really difficult for them to take in. The idea behind it is that during your LTP term, and when I speak to you all in this session, it is not only getting you all to think about what is now, as in the fact that you guys are LCP elects, but what is to come. What would your year as LCPs look like, and how these small things can make a difference. So there'll be days when a member of your EB will want to come and share a rose with you, or he might want to share a thorn with you. So it prepares you for these moments where you randomly, out of the blue, expect one of your members or your VPs, an external, a member who's signed up to go on exchange, who's going to reach out to you because they feel like you're the leader and they need to let this out. They want to share their happiness with you, so they'll give you a rose. And if they want to share something that's not very happy, they're going to let you know what their thorn is, and you're going to help them get out of it, right? So it was just a small little example of what y'all can expect in your year ahead, keeping the fact that you guys are the LCPs for the coming year. So let's get to it. So we're here today to talk about this idea of empowering others and developing others as leaders, right? So I've broken this session up into the fact to my inner leader, which is going to be the first part, why it is important to empower others, and then a little bit of a fun personal session for all of you that you are the LCP elect. So now what? And then we're going to break it out into some sharing spaces. So this idea of empowerment, right? Everyone talks about empowerment as okay, it's something that only if you're in a leadership position is when it really matters the most. It is this idea that we wanted to become LCP because we want to be able to lead other people. We want to be able to inspire other people. Um, we tend to forget that empowerment not only requires you to be in a leadership role, it could be anything. Small things that happen in your everyday life that would impact someone else is an empowering moment, right? So, why is it that we in Isaac overuse the word empowerment to the fact that it is only until we have a leadership experience, or it is only until we've experienced something um, similar, that we can then empower others. And I want to break this idea that it is not just being in a leadership role that helps you empower people, but it can be anything from picking up something on the road that fell from somebody's bag and giving it to them. You might have changed their life. Or talking to somebody on the bus who was probably coming back from a really sad day at work or a sad day at school, right? So, why have we overused this word empowerment? And how, as LCP elects, we're going to use this word empowerment in our role ahead, in our meetings with our executive boards, in handling and dealing with our membership and our um, external partners. Okay. So, okay, the slide is stuck again. Okay, here you go. So, why is it important to empower others? We have to realize that each and every individual on this planet, whether in our personal lives, whether in Isaac, anywhere, they all go through an individual learning experience. Um, and if they do not understand what is going on inside of them, it is impossible for them to be able to empower other people. And so is LCP elects. One of the most important things for you all to realize is that without having taken a glance into your own personal self, you guys are not going to be able to understand what your executive board expects of you, what your members expect of you, and in turn, what the local chapter as a whole and the entity expects of you. So it is very important that we not only seek reflection into ourselves, but also keep in mind that while we do so, this in turn is going to help us empower other people. And like I said, empowering others starts within you. So I want to move into this reflective space where I want all of y'all to individually take this time, keep all your distractions away, keep your cell phone away, keep any kind of things that you're doing at the side away, and just focus on yourself. I don't know if y'all can hear the music in the background, but that's just some reflection music that will play as y'all think. Y'all can write this down. If you're not somebody who writes this down on pen and paper, y'all can keep it at the back of your heads. Y'all can write it on your cell phones, but don't use your cell phones for anything else, because this is really a moment for y'all to really, really dig deep into the leader within you. All right, so my inner leader. I'm going to throw some questions at y'all, and y'all have about a minute to think about it, write it down. Don't discuss, so no discussing in the chat your answers. It is really a space for you to reflect on these questions as we move forward. So let's get started. So the first question is: the why of what I'm doing the same as it was when I started? As all of you know, we all have our Isaac why. From the time you all joined Isaac until you all were elected LCP elect, has your why changed? If so, how has it changed? If not, do you think it will change? You have a minute to think about this answer and write it down. From my previous experiences, how have I developed as a leader? This not necessarily is your Isaac experience. This could be your personal experiences as a student, as a friend, as a family member. How do you think you have developed as a leader? Are there things that you'll want to change about yourself? Are there things that you would like to start new? Or have you found things that you really need to stop doing? Moving ahead, what values and beliefs guide you in your decision making? It could be personal values, it could be religious values, any kind of values within Isaac that inspire you and guide you in the decisions that you make both personally as well as professionally. Moving ahead, would you rather be successful or be happy? Many times, we think that success is everything and we chase behind the big number and we tend to put our happiness aside. Would you rather choose success or would you take something that just gives you pure happiness? Moving ahead, if you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be? you living up to your full potential? Moving ahead. It's important to remember, and a quote from one of my favorite, I would say one of the many favorite TV celebrities that I have, um, is that, oh my God, where is it? You have to know what sparks the light in you so that you, in your own way, can illuminate the world. So Oprah is one of the few women that I really, really admire. Her talk shows on TV were always the kind where she spoke to her audience in a way that she was actually having a conversation with them. So when you sit sometimes by yourself, it is important for you all to have these conversations with yourself. Dig deep into what really, really is that calling within you to really understand what your full potential is so that you can go ahead and inspire those around you. Awesome. I'm not going to ask you all to share any of those things that you all wrote down from the previous questions because that is something I want you all to really think about on a personal level. Uh, these answers that you all have written down, think about it not just right now in this session, not just in the questions that are going to come ahead, but even after and throughout your, the conference that's left and in your journey ahead. One of the things that people really do not do a lot is self reflection. And it is important that all of us take some time out for ourselves. If it's not asking us a question, but just maybe sitting quietly and really digging deep into how we feel so that we can better understand what we're capable of doing and how we can go ahead and light up the people around us. So the next space, now that you all had a personal session where you all got to really dig deep into yourself, it's time to pair up again in the same groups that you all were in and ask your friends some questions. So really the purpose behind this is when you all speak to one another, there are things that you all will learn about each other. There are things that you all might find interesting. There are things that you all want to learn about each other. So I don't know if y'all can see the slides when y'all go into these breakout rooms, but just in case y'all don't see the slides, I'm going to pop up the questions really fast here and y'all can write it down. And I want y'all to discuss this so that we can then have a discussion later on. Okay, so I'm going to go slowly and just read out the questions and then y'all can discuss it in your breakout space. All right. So, when am I the most happy? That's the first question. When am I the most happy? The next question. What am I passionate about? It may seem like it's similar to the first question, but it's very different. So, what am I passionate about? The next question. What are my career goals? And y'all don't have to go into too much detail and, narrate your entire life goals ahead, but just, get the gist of what your friends are trying to tell y'all. The next question. How has 2020 changed you? What is your hope for the year 2021? All right, so y'all can now go into your breakouts. Mary's gonna do the same thing like she did before. You'll have around 7 to 8 minutes to discuss this. We'll max it out to 10 minutes. And then y'all can come back and we will have a sharing space. So have fun, really listen to the other people and go ahead, enjoy. May you can break them out in their session, their breakout. You can unmute yourself and share something interesting that you heard. Yep, go ahead. I think it was Malik. Did he ask if you can go? Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, I hope that I'm audible.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so I actually had a chat with Tyra from Philippines, and so like we were talking about what makes us happy, and so like what we really felt was that our mates in ISEC, the EB members and our team, like we really miss meeting them physically, and we really felt that that makes us really happy because we are not judged when we are with fellow ISECers, and it takes us to another level. So yeah, that was what we talked about, like how it makes us feel happy.
Really nice. And I mean, I can imagine, I can't even imagine what y'all are going through right now because, yes, the opportunity to actually meet people physically, especially your teams, given that you all will soon be beginning these terms, it is probably very relatable to a lot of the, LCPLX all around you. So I think the only thing I can tell you all is that, seize every opportunity, even if it's just a drive by that you'll go to see your friend, just do it because that'll make a huge difference in your everyday, activities that you'll do from now on until things get better. So we have one, oh, cool, from Lumbini in Nepal. Let's hear from Vatsal. Let's go ahead.
Yes, Sale.
Go
So
ahead.
yeah, it's really good seeing you after a long time again. So yeah, talking about
That's
the
nice.
breakout space, I was with Christy and she is from Australia. So it was like really good conversation actually that we had because we connected on a really similar level. It was like most of our answers were similar to each other, like talking about like whenever we are most happy. So it was like we both are kind of people who have a really small group of people whom we actually connect to, and like whenever we are happy, like we are with them people itself. So yeah, like it was really good talking to her and knowing a lot of things. We connected on a really good level. So yeah, thank you for this space.
Awesome. Great. That's amazing. We had a few people sharing. I really hope that, what I show y'all next will make sense to y'all because the transition from first digging deep into yourself to then listening and hearing out other people and sharing your personal experiences with other people is what will really shape what your LCP year would be like, not just in ISIC and even outside of ISIC once you all are done with your experiences. So, moving ahead, okay, hopefully this works. So I know y'all are probably confused and looking at each other and saying in the chat rooms, be like, okay, like why are we breaking out into these rooms? And like, we can easily just like all just scream out and share. First we looked into ourselves, and then we talked to friends like what's going on. Well, basically what I wanted to explain to y'all is this concept that some of y'all might have heard, which is the Johari's window. It is something that a practical tool that is used to illustrate and improve the idea of self-awareness. um, so self-awareness and mutual understanding between individuals. The model basically, furthermore, can be used to improve the relationship of one group with another group. And so it sets the stepping stone for you all to really, understand what it is and how you all will be able to empower other people. So for those of you who have never heard of this, um, if you look at the window, the colored areas, and you start with the blue one, which is the open, this is the area of yourself that are basically things that you know about yourself, the things that are known by you, and also that other people have acknowledged that they know the same of you. So it's this area about yourself that there are things, traits, and personalities that you're aware of. You make it known to other people, and so they're aware of it as well. We then move to this idea, to the orange spot, which is the blind spot, which is something that um, it is unknown by you, but it is acknowledged by other people. So y'all might have noticed when y'all were in your breakout sessions for the previous slide was that while your partner was speaking, while your friend was answering the question, y'all might have noticed things, or they might have noticed things about y'all. You observe things, but you might not know, but they have noticed these things about you. So it's your blind area. It's that space where you have no idea that these things or these personality traits exist in you, and but the other person has noticed it. So that's why we call it the blind spot. Then there's the space, which is the yellow one, which is basically the hidden area. It is the things that you know about yourself, but you have not shared it with anyone else. These may be secrets, they might be, some people have medical issues that they would not like to share with people. And so it is unknown to others, but it is something that you keep hidden. And so it really breaks up into this unknown area, things that are unknown by you as well as other people. So really how to make sense of this in an Isaac way is three things. Why is it relevant? So when we talked earlier about the free area, it's the things that you know about yourself. And if you consider the blind area gives you the opportunity to seek feedback from your friends. This is something that is very important for you as an individual and for the people that you will be dealing with in your LCP terms, because you will constantly be required to seek feedback from individuals on how your journey is going, how things you could do differently because of things that other people have observed about you. Um, the revealing area, again, once again, is the area where there are things that you know about yourself, and after having confidence in your friends or other people around you, you might be able to open up to other people and reveal this personal area, which is the hidden space, to other people. So why is this relevant? It basically shows you the power of feedback. Many a times we do things and we go ahead doing the same things without really acknowledging that we might be doing something that other people have noticed and they really want to tell us about it. So it really gives us the opportunity to seek feedback from people. Um, Again, it shows us the power of revealing things that you might have never known about yourself, but after having heard from somebody else, it gives you the opportunity to then work on those personality traits or any kind of issues that you may have. For example, I'll give you my own example. I know that a lot of times when I am in a group setting, I tend to always be the one who talks the most, and I really don't give other people an opportunity to speak. And many a times I've been told in private as well as out front that, okay, Celeste, like not you anymore. Can someone else please share? Right. So, And then, of course, there's this idea of the power of curiosity, right? So you really want to know what is it that this other person is hiding, or what is it that people have noticed about me and I don't know about myself. And that really takes you to that gray area that it is free for all. It's that area that you really want to explore. So the Johari's window really gives you as an individual that opportunity to really dig deep, to seek self-awareness between yourself and other individuals. And like I said, it really helps in many ways, especially in your Isaac experience, not just as LCP, but as members, but as individuals outside of Isaac. And so it helps us achieve many of the traits that you will now see below. Like I said, self-awareness, personal development, improving communications, interpersonal relationships, group dynamics, team development, and intergroup relationships. It is a concept that I would highly recommend you all do activities with in the future with your executive boards, pass it on to your TLs, because this way you will really be able to understand each other, not just at an individual level, but at group levels as well, right? So I just want to ask the people, all of you here, if anybody wants to share. Was there something, and y'all don't have to take names of who y'all spoke with, but were there things that y'all might have learned about yourself through these questions and answer sessions with your friends? Are there things that you observed about other people that you never knew about them? And you don't have to take names or anything like that. You can just share something interesting if you did hear. If not, we can move ahead. Anyone? Okay, we'll move ahead then. So, empowering others. This transitions into the space that really we're looking forward to really taking on our role as LCP and being able to empower our EBs, our members, the people around us, and grow from that personally as well as professionally, right? So, becoming an empowered leader really comes from the fact that each of us has the ability to become empowered in our professional and personal lives. Empowered people can clearly see their purpose, their direction, and their dreams. Empowered leaders energize and empower those around them, creating a culture that lifts everybody higher. And I can't stress on this the word culture here that really you as LCP elects will be responsible for in the upcoming year. 2020 has been one of the hardest years for people within Isaac, outside of Isaac, all around the world to really bring people back to that sense of belonging, that sense of community. And it is upon y'all within your local chapters to really create and be the leader who's going to create those cultural experiences, not just for our members, but not just for our exchange participants, but also for the membership within our local chapters. And culture not necessarily means, you know, like I guess to say it in the way we would say it here in Isaac in Canada was that what defines your LC culture? Are we the party LC, which some universities were known for? Are we the LC that's always competing for the awards? So it really comes on y'all to decide what y'all want your culture in 2021 to be like for your LC. So an interesting thing that I came across on the internet when I was preparing for this was something called the lollipop um, effect. And I want to know how many of y'all have had these lollipop moments. I'm going to play a video. It's a TEDx talk. The the individual speaks really fast, so I have put the subtitles on. I want y'all to pay attention closely because um, y'all will get the message from it if y'all really pay attention because it is going to lead us into our next part. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and play the video. Hopefully y'all can hear it.
I want to just start by asking everyone in the audience here a question. How many of you are completely comfortable with calling yourselves a leader? See, I've asked that question all the way across the country, and everywhere I ask it, no matter where, there's always a huge portion of the audience that won't put up their hand. And I've come to realize that we have made leadership into something bigger than us. We made it into something beyond us. We made it about changing the world. And we've taken this title of leader and we treat it as if it's something that one day we're going to deserve. But to give it to ourselves right now means a level of arrogance or cockiness that we're not comfortable with. And I worry sometimes that we spend so much time celebrating amazing things that hardly anybody can do that we've convinced ourselves that those are the only things we're celebrating. And we start to devalue the things that we can do every day. And we start to take moments where we truly are a leader and we don't let ourselves take credit for it and we don't let ourselves feel good about it. And I've been lucky enough over the last 10 years to work with some amazing people who have helped me redefine leadership in a way that I think has made me happier. And with my short time today, I just want to share with you the one story that is probably most responsible for that redefinition. I went to a school on a little school called Mount Allison University in Sackville, New Brunswick. And on my last day there, a girl came up to me and she said, "I remember the first time that I met you." And then she told me a story that happened 4 years earlier. She said, "On my day before I started university, I was in the hotel room with my mom and my dad, and I was so scared and so convinced that I couldn't do this, that I wasn't ready for university, that I just burst into tears. And my mom and my dad were amazing. They were like, 'Look, we know you're scared, but let's just go tomorrow. Let's go to the first day. And if at any point you feel as if you can't do this, that's fine. Just tell us, we will take you home. We love you no matter what.'" And she says, so I went the next day and I was standing in line getting ready for registration, and I looked around and I just knew I couldn't do it. I knew I wasn't ready. I knew I had to quit. And she says, I made that decision, and as soon as I made it, there was this incredible feeling of peace that came over me. And I turned to my mom and my dad to tell them that we needed to go home. And just at that moment, you came out of the Student Union building wearing the stupidest hat I have ever seen in my life. It was awesome. And you had a big sign promoting Shinorama, which is Students Fighting Cystic Fibrosis, a charity I've worked with for years. And you had a bucket full of lollipops. And you were walking along and you were handing the lollipops out to people in line and talking about Shinorama. And all of a sudden, you got to me and you just stopped and you stared. It was creepy. This girl right here knows exactly what I'm talking about. And then you looked at the guy next to me and you smiled and you reached in your bucket, you pulled out a lollipop and you held it out to him. And you said, "You need to give a lollipop to the beautiful woman standing next to you." And she said, "I have never seen anyone get more embarrassed faster in my life." He turned beet red and he wouldn't even look at me. He just kind of held the lollipop out like this. And I felt so bad for this dude that I took the lollipop. And as soon as I did, you got this incredibly severe look on your face and you looked at my mom and my dad and you said, "Look at that, look at that. First day away from home and already she's taking candy from a stranger." And she said, everybody lost it. 20 feet in every direction, everyone started to howl. And I know this is cheesy and I don't know why I'm telling you this, but in that moment when everyone was laughing, I knew that I shouldn't quit. I knew that I was where I was supposed to be, and I knew that I was home. And I haven't spoken to you once in the 4 years since that day, but I heard that you were leaving. And I had to come up and tell you that you've been an incredibly important person in my life, and I'm gonna miss you. Good luck. And she walks away, and I'm flattened. And she gets about 6 feet away, she turns around and smiles and goes, "You should probably know this too. I'm still dating that guy 4 years later." A year and a half after I moved to Toronto, I got an invitation to their wedding. Here's the kicker, I don't remember that. I have no recollection of that moment, and I've searched my memory banks because that is funny, and I should remember doing it, and I don't remember it. And that was such an eye-opening, transformative moment for me to think that maybe the biggest impact I'd ever had on anyone's life, a moment that had a woman walk up to a stranger 4 years later and say, "You've been an incredibly important person in my life," was a moment that I didn't even remember. How many of you guys have a lollipop moment, a moment where someone said something or did something that you feel fundamentally made your life better? All right. How many of you have told that person they did it? See, why not? We celebrate birthdays where all you have to do is not die for 365 days. And yet we let people who have made our lives better walk around without knowing it. And every single one of you has been the catalyst for a lollipop moment. You have made someone's life better by something that you said or that you did. And if you think you haven't, think about all the hands that didn't go back up when I asked that question. You're just one of the people who hasn't been told. But it is so scary to think of ourselves as that powerful. It can be frightening to think that we can matter that much to other people. Because as long as we make leadership something bigger than us, as long as we keep leadership something beyond us, as long as we make it about changing the world, we give ourselves an excuse not to expect it every day from ourselves and from each other. Marianne Williamson said, our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light and not our darkness that frightens us. And my call to action today is that we need to get over that. We need to get over our fear of how extraordinarily powerful we can be in each other's lives. We need to get over it so we can move beyond it. And our little brothers and our little sisters, and one day our kids, or our kids right now, can watch us start to value the impact we can have on each other's lives more than money and power and titles and influence. We need to redefine leadership as being about lollipop moments. How many of them we create, how many of them we acknowledge, how many of them we pay forward, and how many of them we say thank you for. Because we've made leadership about changing the world, and there is no world. There's only 6 billion understandings of it. And if you change one person's understanding of it, one person's understanding of what they're capable of, one person's understanding of how much people care about them, one person's understanding of how powerful an agent for change they can be in this world, you've changed the whole thing. And if we can understand leadership like that, I think if we can redefine leadership like that, I think we can change everything. And it's a simple idea, but I don't think it's a small one. And I want to thank you all so much for letting me share it with you today. Have a great day.
All right. So moving ahead, basically there are two things that really come out of this video. How many of you can confidently call yourself a leader? Are we making the most of opportunities to speak up, to say the heartfelt things that might have a huge impact on others, even strangers? Secondly, are we telling those people who have that kind of impact on us that we are so amazingly grateful? When was the last time you had a lollipop moment, and did you share with that person what they were responsible for? Once again, from Oprah, leadership is about empathy. It is about having the ability to relate and connect with people for the purpose of inspiring and empowering their lives. So you are an LCP elect. What is empowerment in Isaac? What are we called here to do? As many of you know, that within Isaac, each and every one of us, from our members to our members who go on exchange, our exchange participants, our executive boards, even you as LCP, all go through an inner and outer journey. And this is really where it begins. If we do not understand our inner journey, there is no way that we will be able to perform in our outer journey, which is the everyday task that we do. So, how can we in Isaac really use our strengths to empower those around us? For y'all as LCP elects to remember is that the LC is where the magic happens, where we develop the leaders that we envision for the world, the place where what we do makes the most sense. And so the smallest gestures that happen within your LC will really define what your 2021 year as LCPs would be like. So something for y'all to consider. How is it that I want to be the best for my entity? What are the things that y'all need to do? I've chosen a few of my favorite quotes from some leaders, mostly women, who have inspired me and inspired me even during my LCP year. One from Sheryl Sandberg, a book that I was actually given by my former LCP, so my predecessor, who gifted me the book. And in that, she mentioned leadership is about making others better as a result of your presence and making sure that impact lasts in your absence. And so, how is this important? What is your role as LCP? If you lead yourself, you lead your entity. One of the most important things that I learned in my LCP experience was that if I did not take the initiative, my members did not follow me. Whether it was getting up to do a roll call, whether it was going myself to a booth and standing and promoting exchange or membership, every small little thing I took ownership of and I led myself to doing it so that I set an example to lead my entity. And that's very important for y'all as well to consider doing so that people around you, your members, look up to you as their local committee president and lead themselves in the same way as you do for the entity. Another inspiring quote again from Angelina Jolie: find a sense of self, because with that, you can do anything. And when I mean anything, your entity reflects who you are and what you do. A very, very important thing that I learned from one of my board of advisors was that I was the face of the local committee. Everything I did reflected on my local chapter, whether it was meeting with externals, whether it was meeting my members. I was the one representing my entire chapter. And so, who you are as an individual, having reflected what your inner journey and inner leader looks like, will help you and guide you in everything that you do in your role as LCP. So, the next time you decide to wear sweatpants and a t shirt in an elevator, and as it opens, one of your faculty members steps in. And this is only because I lived on residence for a while and I was in sweatpants and a t shirt. And my one of my professors came into the elevator, and just a day before I had a meeting with them about sponsorship. So these small little things make the biggest impact, because she probably looked at me and said, is this the same president that I spoke to a while ago asking for sponsorship? So how you carry yourself as an LCP elect will go miles in how you represent your local chapter. Keep in mind these small little things. And last, we're here for a reason. I believe a bit of the reason is to throw little torches out to lead people through the dark. Again, a leading actress, Whoopi Goldberg, someone who has experienced a lot herself, shared this, and I found was very relevant to all of y'all as LCP elects. Why? Because you are the LCP. Understand who you are. Understand what this role is going to require of you, and how you're going to use these challenges and opportunities to not only improve yourself as an individual, but use them to empower those around you. So I know I rushed a little bit towards the end. I just got a notification that I have a couple minutes left, but I just want to go through a quick overview and then open up the floor, because I really want to hear from all of y'all some challenges that y'all may face, something that y'all would like to share that's on your mind. So we really learned today. I hope that you learned that, are you all ready to empower not just yourself? Have we recognized our inner leader? Have we recognized what our true potential is as an individual? How can our smallest actions leave a lasting impact on someone? So, just like the lollipop moment, have there been these small moments that maybe you were inspired by someone, by the smallest gesture that they did? Were you able to go back and tell them that because of them, today you might be in this role as elected LCP? Or have you been someone's lollipop moment where someone approached you and told you that the smallest little thing that you did for me is is the reason why I am here today? And lastly, what kind of leader will you choose to be for your LC? Are you going to be the one that pretty much walks out of this session and says, I don't need to empower myself. I already know what I want. I already know how I'm going to lead my year? Or are you going to be the one who really wants to dig deep into what you have to offer for your local chapter? So before I open the floor to sharing, there's just, given the theme of Moana, and I watched the movie just very recently again, there are two quotes that really stood out for me. One was this one: sometimes our strengths lie beneath the surface, far beneath in some cases. And what she's really saying here is that we all have strengths inside of us, but sometimes it takes a bit more effort to find. Not everyone has an obvious path in life, but if you're willing to do the work and make some sacrifices along the way, anything is possible. And secondly, Be who you are on the inside. A few simple words, but such a powerful meaning. Moana reminds us here that we need to always remember who we are inside. Life isn't about putting on appearances, it's about being who you are without shame. Just like Moana, we could all do a little bit and remind ourselves of this more often. And with that, I want to open up the floor to y'all to share your experiences, to share any of your concerns, um, anything that y'all were inspired by, anything from your conversations that y'all want to share. Again, this is a space which we usually say is a lead space, and you'll tend to think real deep about it. So feel free to share something that you would like to share with your fellow LCP elects. Is there anything that anybody would like to share? Will have any questions? That pretty much wraps up the session. Yes, go ahead and share. Sandeshi, go ahead.
Hi. So from what I talked with the other LCP elects and also the MCPs, something that I realized is that see, I used to think that your insecurities usually go down as you go higher and maybe like develop yourself. But one thing I understood is that it doesn't matter like whether you develop yourself or not. Like those insecurities, you don't know when you're gonna get them, so it's really about like paying attention to yourself and being attentive to your feelings and make sure that you take care of yourself. So in that sense, I kind of felt like I was not alone because I was very insecure about the way I looked because I look very much younger than my age and I sound a little like a child when I speak. So that was a lot difficult when I took on positions and as I tried to level up in my life. So yeah, that was a really good moment, and even this session helped with making sure that I know myself and I know my strengths and I know how to project them and capitalize on them to make sure that I develop myself and also to be a good leader. So yeah.
Awesome, great. Thank you so much for sharing. Is there anybody else who would like to share? Someone who relates? Is there any message or questions that, okay, go ahead. We have someone from Singapore. I'm not gonna pronounce because I might. Okay, go ahead.
First, hi. Yeah, just call me Haja.
Hajar.
Yeah, yeah. So I think I relate a little bit with what Sandeshi mentioned regarding being into my feelings and to I think that have helped me to be more empathetic to others as well in my leadership approach. I think when I was younger, there are moments where like leadership means that to be headstrong, to be very strong will, which is something that is still important. But then I think there are aspects of not and how it could have led to me not being like the best type of leader. You become like a boss instead. So I think being more, I think one of the things that you mentioned about like being vulnerable to our own selves, actually kind of like being understanding of our own weaknesses will also actually help us to become better leader. And I really like the part about lollipop moment, where I think sometimes you don't realize how much effect you have made in somebody's life, even like outside of Isaac journey itself. Even the things that you just maybe meet someone on the side of the road, and then how that person just made your day. And I think that it itself is leadership, and not just having to change the entire world. I think so. I think that's also really important, and I think can really be useful in all our own like leadership journeys. So yeah, I think that is all for me.
Very true. Thank you so much for sharing. Is there anybody else who would like to share? I know you all probably had sessions before this with your LCP elects, but this sessions like these are really the space where it's really just y'all. There's no one watching over y'all. There's that y'all can say what y'all want to. The feelings that y'all are really feeling about going into this year. I know that there is a lot of uncertainty going into 2021, and y'all are all in this together. So if there's a message that you would like to give a fellow LCP, um, elect, I have to keep reminding myself that you're LCP elects and that your terms are going to start. Trust me, from my experience, all I can say is that it's going to be a challenging year, not just because of the current situation that the world is facing, but in general, the role takes a huge toll on your lives personally as well as professionally. Um, my only message to all of y'all, having gone through this experience, is that really always remind yourself of why you all took up this position in ISIC, not just the LCP, but joining ISIC. For me, it was constantly going back to the fact that I love being around people. I love talking to people. I love sharing my experiences. And that's what constantly kept me connected because I kept meeting new people along the way from different countries, from different, local chapters. And that pushed me to always reminding myself that, okay, no matter how hard this LCP year is, your exchange numbers are not coming, you're not meeting deadlines, your EV is not responding to your messages on WhatsApp, somebody forgot to do their one-on-one, things like that, sales meetings are not happening. Um, you know, at the end of the day, remember that you are just like each and every one of them on this journey. You're learning something about yourself every day. You're learning something about other people. So it's important that throughout your LCP journey ahead, you'll remind yourself of your why in ISEC. And that'll really keep you connected to the organization. There will be dipping points in your year where you want to throw everything out of the window and say, okay, I'm done. And you might have seen your predecessors go through this year, that okay, 2020 is really just down the drain and that I didn't do anything. Just keep those things aside and remember that you all were chosen and elected to do this because your membership put their trust in you. They believed in your vision for the LC, and that is something that really pushed me. The fact that my members and my EB constantly pushed me and reminded me that they chose me to lead was something that kept pushing me ahead. Um, and of course, the most important thing is really enjoy this because where else in the world will you get the opportunity to really own your own, company in a way, like do it the way you'll want to, lead things, the agendas, things like that. So make the most of your LCP year. Keep in contact with not just your own entity, with other people, learn from other people, and really enjoy it because it's a year that'll start off really rough, confused, but it'll really end on a high when you'll see the outcome of what you'll have achieved. So with that, I think May has given me a reminder that the session should be coming to an end soon. um, I just want to say that I'm always open to connect. Y'all can find me on Instagram or Facebook and reach out, ask any questions. More than happy to share more of my LCP experience. Something that I did want to show y'all is that in ISIC in Canada, every LCP at the last president's meeting of the term, the MC gives us a jersey. So in Canada, hockey is one of the sports that's very common, ice hockey. So we get like these massive hockey jerseys. And I felt really empowered today delivering this. And I was a bit nervous and might have showed in my voice, but I was a bit nervous because it's the first time doing this virtually. But wearing this jersey today that I'm going to show you all really helped me go through this session with y'all and put me back into 2016 where I went through this year, just as you guys are going to experience. So I'm going to show you all my jersey. If y'all can see me, it says ISIC Canada. Um, and it's massive because hockey jerseys are like that. And then at the back, it has LCP written on it. So we get these jerseys from the MC. It's something that still continues within Isaac. So really push your MCs to consider doing this for y'all because it's something that connected all 30 of us LCPs in the year 2016. We proudly wore them at conferences. We proudly wore them at our general assemblies. So, do these small little things that will not just empower y'all, but also help the LC overall through your own empowerment. So that's all from me. I hope you all enjoyed. Feel free to connect and enjoy the rest of the conference. It was really nice being with Isaacers again. I wish there was a way we could do a roll call because I haven't done a roll call in really long, but hopefully some other time. All the best for what's coming, and have a good night from Canada. Bye bye.
Right. Thank you so much, Celeste, for the amazing lead session. I hope you
Hi,
guys learned a
Prayog.
lot.
By the way, guys, huge shout out
Hi,
to
Celeste.
Prayog. He was on my MC, and oh my God, Prayog is like, he's a gem, guys. Like I'm telling y'all, use him as much as y'all want because he is like this box of like hidden secrets. He knows everything. He's almost an Isaac dinosaur now. So Prayog, thank you so much again for inviting me to be a part of this, and I really appreciate connecting with LCP. Lex, all the best for the rest of the conference.
Thanks, Celeste, for that wonderful introduction. Guys, for you, you have your next sessions. You have a break, and then you have next sessions in your calendar. So join your respective rooms. Thank you. Thanks, Celeste, once again. Bye. Can I get the hosting rights, Tech? Can I get the hosting rights from the Tech?